Hello and welcome back to Factorio, and since this is going to be the last episode, I am going to do the bit of self-promoting kind of stuff. So, just quickly, if you like this video, consider giving it a like. If you didn't, then dislike by all means. Subscribe if you want to know when I release my next video, and do not forget to comment if you have something you want to ask or say. Do you want to know when I release a whole new series? Then consider checking my Twitter. If you like supporting the channel, then head on over to my Patreon page and check it out. And both the links can be found in the description down below or on the channel's about page about Twitter and the Patreon. And in the description down below, you can also find a playlist for the series. So that was all right. Yeah, that's it. Now, focus on the game. What is this protrusion sticking up from this hole? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the rocket which we have been waiting for basically almost 47 hours at this point. Yes, it can go a lot quicker. I have been doing a lot of explaining, so it has been going a bit slow. Now, some things have been taking a lot of time because I've been taking my sweet ass time, but still. The game takes a lot of time, and I think this is a good representation for your first playthrough as a new player, that it is going to take you a long time. And even if you know what you're doing, it's still going to take quite a lot of time. And I have built quite large. It's not super large, it's not super efficient, it's not any way optimal or super quickly done. Just a heads up. So, the rocket. If you remember, in the beginning, like the absolute first episode, when we start the game, we get basically a yellow box which says that the goal to the game is to launch the rocket, to research, build and launch the rocket, which is this thing in the rocket silo. Now, if we look here, we can see that we have a rocket inventory slot. If we hover over this gray box, it says rocket cargo. You are expected to put the satellite here. And you cannot believe how many hasn't read this and still wondered why you haven't finished the game despite launching a rocket, only to find out when they launched it the first time that they didn't put the satellite in. In the defense, I'm going to say yes. There is basically no information other than reading the tooltips. So it's not super informative. But the information is still there in the game, that you are expected to put the satellite there. Now, this, I believe this text is something they put there at some point, because before a certain point in the game, there were like when it comes to version of the game, there were absolutely no information at all unless you knew it. Or launched the rocket without a satellite. Now, I believe they have removed the restriction of the satellite. But I'm going to use the satellite. You need a satellite still if you want to bring down science. If we... let's see, which one is it? There's one of them that is... well, we can look at this. Space Science Packs is, as the tooltip says of it, used by labs for research. So it is a research science pack. It is obtained by launching a rocket with a satellite. So you can only get space science packs if you launch a rocket with a satellite. Which is one of the reasons why I will launch it with a satellite. The other reason is because I think it's dumb that you don't need a satellite to finish the game anymore. Because, well, anyway, that the second reason is basically personal reasons, because I like that you needed the satellite, but whatever. What the thing you need to think about when you actually have the rocket built is to see, what do I want to put in the rocket cargo? Well, I want a rocket to have a satellite, for example. Well, then we need to put it into the rocket cargo. Now, you could have auto launch with cargo. What that means is it's going to automatically launch the rocket once it's loaded with a cargo of anything. So if you have stuff which can be put into the rocket cargo which isn't the satellite, and you have it an auto launch, it might launch anyway. Be careful, the auto launch with cargo is if there's anything in the rocket cargo. So, and you can click on the launch button to manually launch as well. Now, before we actually do that, I feel like we should take at least a little bit of time taking in what we have made here. Like what we have done, what we have accomplished, what we could probably have done better to maybe like speed up the process a bit. Well, I can say right now, not wait for stuff over here to mine out completely and just ignore it, tear it down and put up more miners. That would have been the correct choice. Now, I really didn't care. I had a lot of other stuff to do and talk about as well. So for me, it didn't matter. But if we wanted to actually have sped up the process a bit, that's one thing we could have just done. Like ignored that they were all there and just built over it and just got on, got an outpost, got a train bringing stuff in, and we would have been fine. Now, are we producing enough stuff? Well, when it comes to raw resources, it seems we are absolutely fine. Now, we could probably upgrade one column for iron ore, and we would really be super fine when it comes to producing iron. The steel is absolutely fine. We needed 3 steel columns with stone furnaces. I could probably have upgraded one, but whatever. probably what we should have done is have made everything a lot bigger if we wanted to actually like have gotten this done quicker. And if we wanted this to have been even quicker, then getting robots earlier would have been great. Now, I didn't do that because I couldn't be bothered, and as I said, I had a lot of other stuff to do and talk about, so it just like didn't get done, sadly. It would have been very good to do and would have sped up the process quite a bit. Yeah, they are wailing on stuff. Doesn't matter at this point. Anyway, it did take a lot more time because of, well, the pollution is massively spreading, and we are on a rail world with biter expansion on, which probably isn't a super good idea if we want to go fast, to be honest. And this probably a bunch of other stuff we could have improved if we wanted to go a bit faster. The oil I'm very satisfied with. I think the oil is doing absolutely fine at this point. What we should do with the oil is basically just making stuff have modules, like put modules into everything that's making oil at this point. Now, we had a bit of a slowdown where we didn't realize that our crude oil storage was just super bad. Like we had, at one point we had like 2,000 crude oil tops. Like that was the most of it when it peaked, basically. So we had to like emergency find one more patch and set up an outpost. Now we haven't gone that far out. We still have 8.1 million coal. The copper is 6.8 million. The iron is nowhere near done. A lot of miners could be moved, but still absolutely fine. Stone 9.2 million. Yeah, draining those would take a lot of time, unless we went a lot bigger. If we used a lot more resources, or especially used a lot more resources making circuits, and if we actually made prioritized doing the infinite research kinds and doing a lot more research in the end, then we would have needed to expand this a lot. We would probably have needed like 2 or 3 more of the same size with the green circuits. We would probably have needed like at least 1 more of the red, probably 2 more. And we would probably have needed a lot better setup of blue circuits as well. Now, the spaghetti, which I promised, I feel like I delivered on that. I feel like the spaghetti of this is... it's still not so insanely tangled that you can't comprehend of how it's going. But it's still a lot of crisscross and undergrounds and at some point some really weird connections to make stuff work and get it to where we needed it. So the mix between efficiency and spaghetti has been quite good, and we have a lot of spaghetti. It's not like we don't have spaghetti. There's a few places where there's not a lot of spaghetti, for example the smelter areas, because yes, doing that on purpose badly is no. But doing a bunch of these, like just a lot of these I like squeezed in, or I like, okay, we're making it here, and then I never moved it, and everything around it have been like shifted like downwards to the right. Like this here is here because, well, they can't really be anywhere up here, and yeah, the red green is a long snaky line all the way from here. Yeah, and we did a bit of an interesting here to get red circuits up to this one to make roboports, and yeah, so that there is some serious spaghetti going here. And we have the pipe spaghetti, we have the belt spaghetti, we have the wire spaghetti, like all kinds of spaghetti, really. So I feel like I have lived up to the serious name of how to spaghetti, basically. And yeah, I did use some blueprints after a while, because one, I had already made them, so I had cleared the requirements for using that blueprint, or we got so far into the game that I really couldn't justify sitting down and building it for like an entire episode, and then taking out the blueprint to see where we needed to go next. And no, so some blueprints I just put down, but most of them I actually followed the rules, and or like the majority of them. There was actually very few I like broke the rules to put down, and some of them I just use as a marker, so that doesn't really count because I didn't build them. I delete them afterwards. And yeah, I hope I have explained stuff somewhat decently and clearly, and that I haven't confused someone more than necessary. But I feel like we should pick up the satellite at this point. Let's pick up the satellite. Let's put the satellite into the rocket cargo. Now, I'm not sure how loud this is going to be, so I'm going to stay a bit away, and we are going to click launch. Yeah, the rocket is somewhat loud, so... and off it goes! And here we are. That might be quite loud. But yeah, here we have statistics of how long we played. We played almost 47 hours. We killed almost 15,400 trees, almost. 15,359. Medium spitters, 2,605. Big spitter, 2,094. And so on. As you can see, we destroyed one huge rock, 2 small electric poles, 6 big rocks, 7 wooden chests, and so on. Now, we could click finish to get back to the menu screen, but I'm going to click continue and show what happens if you click continue. What happens is that you get a lot of science packs. What I'm going to do is reset this like that. Now, how this is put up is that if this less than 2,000 space science packs, it's going to launch a new rocket, but doesn't matter really at the moment, because we are not going to use it even. I'm going to hook it up, but I'm not going to use it because but yeah, the rocket is launched. It will, and we have reached the, should I say, like end game, really. Like, this is the where most people get to and want to get to, especially the veterans. This is where they go and see, basically do challenges, and many of them require them to get to this point and stage of the game where they have the space science, because it's part of the challenge where they need to make a certain amount of science packs per minute or something. But yeah, now we are in the like true part of free play game where we don't really have any restrictions whatsoever. We don't actually need to launch any more rockets if we don't want to. Now, we might want to, but we don't need to. We absolutely don't need to. So, why do you want to continue, and what happens if you continue? Well, what happens is that you launch the rocket, and when you press continue, you get a bunch of space science packs. These science packs can be removed from the rocket silo. You can make another rocket in the rocket silo, launch it with another satellite to produce even more space science. That space science can be shuffled all the way over to your labs. And if we demonstrate this by doing something like this, we can actually at this point do the endless science ones that actually require space science. We can actually get the worker robot speed to go beyond 250% movement speed. So that bonus can actually go even higher. And that could be a logistics challenge to actually get it to work. But most of the like the play you come across when it is a continued game is basically free play where you set your own goals. So this is like when you click continue, when you launch your first rocket, you will basically transition into sandbox mode. And this is not really my... Like, this is where I leave Factorio. I usually launch one rocket and then I call it quits. Because for me, unless I want to test stuff, for me, it's not so much to like do. I'd rather just start another one, like start over and like do a challenge or like maybe an achievement or something to see if I can handle that from scratch. But I usually don't go beyond and continue playing, but you might want to do that. That might be something you want to do. If it is, then you need, as I said, you need to launch the rocket. You need to you need to be able to launch the rocket, build a rocket, launch it, and make a satellite which you put into the rocket. And once you launched it, you can press continue, and then you transition into sandbox mode basically, which allows you to do basically whatever you want and might think of to do. But as I said, that really isn't my style, so I'm going to just show you the thing with endless research. Now we have actually we have put the science packs on belts, we have plumbed them up, and actually we have them in the labs, so it is now possible to research anything that requires space science. Now, the only thing we have unlocked that has a space science requirement is the worker robot speed 6, which I'm going to do. And then we can just keep on clicking it over and over and over again until we run out of slots. So this is basically endless. You can keep on stacking the bonus until the robots is no longer visible on your screen, basically. Now I'm not going to do that because that feels a bit silly. It gets increasingly more difficult, more expensive for every single level of infinite research you do. So if you do the level 7 one, it's more expensive than the level 6 one, and if you do the 8 one, it's more expensive than the 7, and so on and so forth. Which is going to require more resources out of your factory, which means you might actually have to expand if you continue playing. And that is what you can expect of Factorio once you have launched the rocket. As I said, it is basically sandbox, so it is whatever you can think of to make the game continue. I would say this is a perfect point to test stuff. If you have something, oh, maybe this is a thing you can do. Now is the time to actually start testing stuff. Now you have a base, you have everything up and running. Maybe not perfectly, but you have everything up and running. Now you can see, like test and see, is this how it works? Can I actually make this more efficient? Or whatever you might be able to think of. But as I said, it is sandbox, so it is whatever you can think of. There's no requirements of the game. You can quit the game whenever you want, and there's nothing like technically left to do. You have no goal at this point. So let's take a look at the second rocket preparing. We missed this before, so let's look. And it's auto launching because it's fancy. And boom, it's sailing away. And we got a bunch of space science, which is dumping, which gets dumped out onto the belt. Which is absolutely perfect. And this system is just going to rinse and repeat and do this forever until you basically cut the resources or don't have any resources left. Or you change some variable in here which makes the circuit network not work. But whatever. That is basically it. We didn't see any behemoth once. Maybe that's something we could try to hunt for. I do want to show them if we can. Now, I'm not going to go crazy over. We have gone slightly over the 30-minute mark, but I'm not going to go crazily over because of I want to show you behemoth. They might not even be spawnable just yet. Yeah, they might not actually be something that spawns. What I am going to do is try to do this. Mostly because repairing. Let's see, where can we find? Over here is the closest nest. I'm not sure. Yeah, and we have a bit of a rocket silo stat where you can see how many sent items you have. Yeah, we still don't have which is a bit interesting because we haven't been like pacifists, you could say. We really have been running around destroying a lot of biter bases. So yeah, we should probably be seeing, I think it might be 0.9. I might actually like try to force spawn. Or increase the evolution some way with console commands, basically. Like doing a lower script. Yeah, I'm going to pause. I'm going to see if this actually... It probably is a Lua command. Factorio. Evolution... Lua. Set evolution. Right, let's see here if we can actually... let's see if we can search for it, because it is evolution. No, don't reset. That's not something we want. Maybe we can't. Well, whatever. I'm not going to go and look for ages. I think they start appearing at 0.9. I think what I might do is... I might do a bit of either a hunt or something. I'm not sure what to... We could just call it quits. I'm sure we are going to see them at some point in a different playthrough. Or you can just Google it. They are really like bad. They are really powerful. They are the nastiest enemy in the game. They have a lot of resistance, and they have a lot of health, and they do a lot of damage. And I'm not sure if I have actually fought against them in the 0.17 yet, with the whole spitting acid and stuff. The evolution is going up quite slowly. I should probably have thought about that if I wanted to show off the behemoth ones. I was quite sure we would see them, but apparently not. But yeah, this is Factorio. I absolutely love the game. if you haven't been able to tell throughout the playthrough, if you have actually watched it completely, then yeah, I absolutely love the game, if you couldn't tell. So that is, as I said, Factorio. It's a management game of resources and time, you could call it. Like trying to build your factory as quick as possible without having to deal with the nasty enemies. And the evolution, like the level of the enemies increase by a few different things, and it is how much pollution you give them, how many bases you kill and destroy, and just time. How long have you been playing for the time to tick up to actually tick up the evolution factor? Is something the game is keeping track of all the time. We still don't have, like, we're still on like evolution factor 0.86. I think it's 0.9 and up we get Behemoth, which with how slow the evolution rises, you're probably not going to see any Behemoth once. But yeah, this game is, I would say, well worth its price tag. It's a really inexpensive game for what you actually get. Now, whether this game is for you, that is a very different question to answer. If it's for you, I would probably say watch let's plays, watch people playing the game and see if it's something that intrigues you to try it. Now, Factorio has a demo. Try out the demo. If you're not sure, try the demo. That is the biggest tip I can give you if you're unsure whether you want to buy the game or not. Try the demo and decide after trying the demo. Like after playing the demo, then you decide. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. You can do multiplayer, single player. You can do achievements. You can do a lot of settings. You can like play without biters at all. Like if you don't want biters, if you don't like them, you don't have to play with them. You can actually make a world without them. So there's a bunch of different kind of play styles, and there's a bunch of different kinds of doing things in the game. Even if one thing is technically more efficient, it's absolutely not the only way. And even if it's considered to be the most efficient way, it's not necessarily the real most efficient way because no one has found it yet. So who knows? Maybe you actually find a more efficient way of doing something. But that is something we are going to leave for you and other players to decide, because that's not something I can decide or answer or even have the time for, because we are 15 minutes beyond 30 minutes and I feel that's fine. This has been Factorio. I have been TellerTactGaming, and I've been having a lot of fun, and I hope you have had fun watching, and that it actually have been informative and helpful, because it was a how-to in a bit of a loose let's play kind of spirit, but still. But with that, we are going to say thanks for watching, goodbye, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.